16 minutes past midday right now, and we are about to talk about breathing. How often do you think about your breathing? Well, I'm going to say probably not a lot, actually. But if we turn our attention to it and focus on it and what the benefits are of doing this, it can be a massive game changer. I'm joined by the lovely Maher, who's going to talk to us a little bit more about this. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
It's lovely to have you in the studio today. So let's start off with dedicated breathing coach.
Yes.
How did you get into this?
Yes, it's not the traditional career path, for sure. I got to spend a week with a guy called Wim Hof about 8 years ago. And I went there for the cold. I was terrified of cold water. So I went to Poland and I jumped in the cold water. But then I discovered his breathing techniques and they completely changed everything.
So we've seen him on telly. He did the big show with all the celebrities, didn't he? And they're all being dunked in cold water and everything. I mean, but he's very well known now, isn't he? Yeah. So that's amazing. So how did it change your life?
So I was huffing and puffing with Wim in a basement in Poland. And I had just this incredible experience. I was like, wow, I've never felt this good. And all I've done is change what I do with my lungs. That's it. Simple thing. No drugs, no alcohol, just purely changed how I breathe. And then when I got back home, I was in the corporate space for 20 years. I realised how shallow my breathing was and like how much stress I suddenly felt because I became aware of the breath. And so I just got obsessed and I just started making YouTube videos about it. I've got a podcast on breathing. I've interviewed so many experts and it's my full-time gig now.
Wow. And you know what I always think as well? That this is great because it encourages more men to follow this path, doesn't it? You know, because often with sort of yoga, which also is great for teaching you how to breathe it in different ways that are good for your body. I think for some men, they see it as something that a female does, but they're not sure it's for them. But this is, you know, this opens up a whole new world, doesn't it, for people? Do you find lots of men getting into it with you, lots of clients?
Yeah, so a vast majority of my clients tend to be CEOs and entrepreneurs that tend to be male. Probably about 75% of the people I work with are men. And there's a lot of breathwork for men groups now out there, and it's a good way to tap into our emotions and our feeling body.
I think society's so busy, isn't it? Like you say, people that are in very perhaps stressful jobs at the top, CEOs, you know, they hold themselves differently. You may be sitting a lot. You're not thinking about it. When you get stressed and angry as well, I think we breathe differently then, don't we?
Yeah.
We get migraines and all sorts and it can change all of that. So talk us through a little bit about how we can all sort of change the way we breathe and just simple things we can do in everyday life.
Yeah, no, I love that question. There is, if you think about your breathing, I would say it is the foundation of our health, because it's almost like if you've got a building and the foundation's off, everything's going to be wonky. And so for me, breath becomes exercise, it comes before nutrition, it comes before sleep even. And so the simplest tip I can give people, if you take anything away from today, is use the nose. And the nose is the gateway to our respiratory system. We shouldn't be using the mouth. One of the common myths out there is in through the nose, out through the mouth, or it doesn't matter which of the holes I use. Actually, the nose is the superpower for our breathing system.
And you learn that in yoga too, don't you? Well, I certainly did. And it's quite hard, actually, because we're so used to doing it, like you say, out of the mouth. Physically, how long does it take to sort of feel a change and see a change when you start doing something like this?
Yeah, well, the beautiful thing about breathwork is, first of all, you don't need yoga pants, you don't need a yoga studio. You can do it. We can do it sitting right here, and you can feel different within one breath, one or two breaths. I always say to clients, you're just one breath away from whatever that is you're trying to do. But typically, real life-changing results I've seen happen in as little as 6 weeks. When I work with clients, we can make radical changes. The body is wonderful. You know, we breathe really great as children, and then we have kind of poor role models and TV, and we start sitting all day, and we get chronic stress, and we kind of forget how to breathe really, really well. But the body's so good that it very quickly can remind it again how to get back to that beautiful functional breath.
Can people get quite poorly? I mean, I mentioned the headaches. I know I do that if I grit my teeth, if I'm a bit stressed and I'm not, you know, I'm sort of almost holding my breath. But can there be sort of worse physical side effects to not breathing properly over a long period of time?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things the breath affects. It affects our sleep. If your breath is off, your sleep is off. If your sleep is off, diet and exercise is so hard. People with asthma, I just interviewed a guy a little while ago called the breathing diabetic, and he showed the evidence that when we breathe poorly, it actually forces people to get into a more diabetic state, and they can see that in the blood. Stress, tension, anxiety, depression even can all be linked back to how's your breathing.
So I'm going to put you on the spot now. Shall we do a couple of exercises or just something simple that we can do right now that people listening at home can do, or they can do at their desk or in their office or whatever on their break? And I'll try not to pull any funny faces, but how could we do it, Mike?
Okay.
Talk us through it.
So we're going to take, I'm going to take you through coherence breathing. It's the simplest breathing technique. It's my personal favourite. It was just featured on the Andrew Huberman podcast. And this exercise will help your heart be younger, according to a cardiologist. It will improve your heart rate variability. You'll be able to handle stress much better. And it's this simple. It's in for 5.5 or 6 seconds and out for 5.5 and 6 seconds. I can guide you through it.
Okay.
And do this for a couple of minutes a day, up to 20 minutes a day. So if we use the nose, always using the nose, gently breathing in, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Softly out, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smoothly in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Effortlessly letting go, 4, 3, 2, 1. One last time. Smoothly, softly in, 3, 2, 1. Smoothly, softly letting go, 3, 2, 1.
I'm not coming back. That's lovely. And I've had 3 cups of coffee today, so I feel very calm now. Wow. And that's something we can do anytime, isn't it? We can just take ourselves off to the bedroom, to the bathroom at work if we're feeling a bit, shut ourselves in the cubicle and just do it. You mentioned you've got a podcast and YouTube. So where can people find you?
So you just go to YouTube, take a deep breath.
Love this. Oh, that's lovely. Fabulous. Oh, right. Wonderful stuff. And I know you mentioned that. I've got to ask you actually before you go. You mentioned the ice, the cold, because we hear about that a lot, and you're doing that. So is that something that you introduce to clients as well, and you're still doing after being with Wim Hof?
Yeah, I don't do it personally. I don't do it with clients anymore because a lot of my work's online. I work with people all over the world, but I still like a cold shower. I like to go into a frozen lake. Always do it safely. Always do it with other people. It's one of these things you don't enjoy going in, but when you come back out and you get in the sunshine on your body and I've done this hard thing, you feel incredible. I've never felt a high as wonderful as coming out of cold water. You
can buy those. I've been looking at them actually online. You know, you have them in I forgot what they're called, but they're almost like a barrel, and you just fill it up and you go in it basically. So you've got it at home if you don't fancy a river or whatever. And do it that way. But maybe start off with cold showers
cold showers, couple of minutes a day. Try and get a 20-day routine going. It can change your life.
It's lovely talking to you. Thank you so much. I've got a little bit It works though, doesn't it?
It really does.
And you can use that in any situation. And I'm thinking, if you're really annoyed with your other half or somebody and you're going to let rip, you can walk away. You can use that technique to just come down. It's brilliant. Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming in and sharing all your expertise with us. We'll have to get you back on.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Have a fabulous weekend. Mike Maher, dedicated breathing coach from Earl Shilton there. It's 24 minutes past midday.